Welcome to Nachsimanim. I'm Jacob Thomas, and today we will be learning melachim bet, perek bet. We begin this perek where Eliyahu Navi, it's time for him to go. And he is with his disciple, Elisha. And Eliyahu tells him, I need to go to Beit El. And Elisha says, I am not leaving you. Each place in Yericho, at the Yarden, Eliyahu says, I gotta go, you stay here. But Elisha says, I will continue with you. And also, Elisha is encountered by a bunch of B'nai Nevi'im, people who are in training to become Navis. And they say, you do realize that Eliyahu is leaving today. And Elisha's like, yeah, I know. Shh. Now, once they get to the Yarden, Eliyahu rolls up his mantle, like his cloak, strikes the water, the river splits, and they allow to cross the Yarden. And Eliyahu asks Elisha, what blessing does he want before he goes up to Shemayim? And Elisha says, let me have a double portion of everything that you have done. Elisha wants to be twice as great as Eliyahu. And Eliyahu says, if you see me go up to Shemayim, then you'll have it. Suddenly, a chariot of fire and horses, something that we can't fully understand, separates the two, and Eliyahu ascends and goes into a whirlwind up to Shemayim, and Elisha sees it. Elisha picks up the mantle. He's grieving. He walks back to the Yarden and strikes it, and he asks, where is Hashem? And the water splits a second time, but it splits in two parts. From this massive miracle, the B'nai Nevi'im probably didn't see it, and they want to continue to try to find Eliyahu. They do see, though, that Elisha has this miraculous ability, and they saw that the spirit of Eliyahu rests on Elisha. And even though Elisha protests, they try to search for 3 days to find Eliyahu, but can't find anything. Then Elisha begins his active leadership. He sweetens toxic water at Yericho by throwing a bowl of salt into the source and heals the ecosystem. He goes to Beit El, and people are very and there's a few mocking boys who are disrespectful, and they call him bald. And he goes around and he curses them, leading a bear to punish them and kill them. As a recap, we have the unshakable loyalty of Elisha to Eliyahu, where Elisha is going with Eliyahu on every step of the part. Then we have the fire chariot that brings Eliyahu up to Shemayim. We have Elisha getting the power, the miraculous ability that Eliyahu had. Twice the ability that Eliyahu have, and is able to split the river. We also have the B'nai Nevi'im, who are trying to find Eliyahu and can't. And we also have Elisha and the miraculous things that he has done. We are on perek Beis, so just like Zichru, we use a house. Beis is a bias, which is a house. Eliyahu ascends to the top of the playhouse, waiting to be brought to Shemayim. This reminds us, so in this perek, Eliyahu begins to be brought to Shemayim. We're in the playhouse to remind us we're in melachim bet. And he goes to the top, and he goes through all of the journeys, and Elisha is with him the entire way, and can see Eliyahu going up to Shemayim. We have the two miracles that Elisha did after getting miraculous powers after the death of Eliyahu, of healing the waters of Yericho and sending bears after the boys who mock him. One more time with the simon. Eliyahu ascends to the top of the playhouse, waiting to be brought to Shemayim. We're now going to do a 4 perek back chazar, starting with perek chaf, which we use a cafe. Achav and the enemy king sit in the pantry cafe to make a treaty. This reminds us, so in this perek, Ben-Hadad attacks Achav. Achav originally lets him, but then stops. They fight 2 wars. At the second war, Achav completely wins, and Achav then creates a treaty with Ben-Hadad, leading a prophet to say, that was not a good thing you did there. Perek Chaf Aleph, in which we use a car. Achav puts Nevo's vineyard in the trunk of his car and drives away. This reminds us how in this perek we have Achav trying to take the vineyard of Navot. He is unable to. Izel creates an entire plan where she hires bad people to falsely testify, leading to the death of Navot. Achav then takes the property, and Eliyahu comes and says, "Did you just kill a man and take his property?" Achav takes this into heart and begins to do tshuva. Perek Chaf Beis, in which we use a cab. The cab driver is killed in the pantry, escaping the battle in his cab. This reminds us, so in this perek, Achav and Yehoshaphat begin to come together to try and take over land. All the false prophets say that he's going to win, but Michayahu says, Achav, you're going to die. And Achav's like, this guy never prophesies well for me. And in the end, Achav tries to not die by pretending to be a commoner, but from this, a stray arrow hits him and dies. Now, perek olive, we use an olive tree. Achaziyahu uses oil from the olive tree to heal instead of seeking out Hashem. Use in the playhouse. This reminds us, so in this perek, we have Achaziyahu falls through the lattice and gets hurt and bedridden. He goes to send soldiers to Baal Zvuv, a avodah zarah, instead of seeking out Hashem. Eliyahu intercepts them, says, "What are you doing? And because of this, you will die. Is there not a God in Israel that you can go to?" And there are 3 sets of legions that are sent to Eliyahu. The first 2 he burns up. The third is humble and is spared. Eliyahu goes to the king and says this exact same thing, saying, "Why did you go trying to go all the way to Ekron to an avodah zarah when you have God right here?" We're now going to do a 10-question pop quiz on the Sfarim we have learned. In which perek does King David give his final ethical charge to Shlomo on his deathbed that he should remain completely loyal to the Torah? Melachim Aleph Perek Beis. In which perek is the Beis HaMikdash constructed in silence, using stones that are completely pre-cut from a faraway quarry? Melachim Aleph Perek Vav. In which perek is a magnificent chariot of fire and horses separate Eliyahu and Elisha while Eliyahu goes in a whirlwind? Melachim Bet Perek Bet. In which perek does Yehuda and Israel multiply securely, where everyone is happily under his vine and fig tree? Melachim Aleph Perek Dalet, kind of hay. In which perek does 2 separate military units of 50 soldiers entirely consumed by fire on a hillside? Melachim Bet Perek Aleph. In which perek does the Queen of Sheba test Shlomo with riddles and is awestruck by his grand palace tables and wisdom? Melachim Aleph Perek Yud. In which perek does Izebel fabricate a corrupt mock trial using the royal signet leading to the execution of Navot just for his vineyard? Melachim Aleph Perek Chaf Aleph. In which perek does Elisha strike the waters of the Yarden with Eliyahu's fallen mantle and splits the river a second time? Melachim Bet Perek Bet. Shmuel altogether, bonus question. In which perek does David pursue and completely rout the melachim and rescue his captive family after burning of Tziklag? Shmuel Aleph Perek Lamed. In which perek do the tribal elders coordinate a plan at Shiloh to secure wives for the surviving members of the tribe of Binyamin? Shoftim Perek Chaf Aleph. That is it for today. May we be zochet to finish all of Nach, 1 perek at a time, and remember, day after day, have a wonderful day.